Have you ever realized that a friendship you thought was solid as a rock was actually just a transaction? I'm talking about the kind of friend who measures loyalty in dollar signs. I recently found out that my best friend didn't actually want a maid of honor. She wanted a human ATM. We're talking about a Bridezilla situation that went so far off the rails, it ended with a canceled wedding, a viral smear campaign against me, and a $20,000 secret that blew the whole thing wide open. If you've ever had to deal with entitled people, or if you've ever been made to feel guilty for having boundaries, you are going to want to hear this. Grab a snack, get comfortable, and let's get into the nightmare of Jessica's perfect wedding. Jessica and I had been inseparable since kindergarten. You know that dynamic. She was the loud, charismatic leader, and I was the grounded, supportive sidekick. For 20 years, that worked. So, naturally, when she got engaged to Mark, a genuinely nice guy who also happened to be a very successful tech entrepreneur, I was over the moon for her. I was the first person she called. I was the one who helped her pick the venue. I was the one listening to her vent at 2 a.m. And, of course, I was the maid of honor. Now, I assumed that since Mark was, well, loaded, money wasn't going to be a massive issue for the bridal party. I wasn't expecting a free ride, obviously, but I didn't think I'd have to take out a second mortgage to be a bridesmaid. Boy, was I wrong. The nightmare officially started at the bridal brunch. This was supposed to be the kickoff event. Jessica rented out a private room at this ultra-high-end bistro. We're all sitting there, me and 4 other bridesmaids, sipping mimosas, feeling great. Jessica stands up, clinking her glass, looking like a princess. She pulls out these heavy, velvet-bound booklets. They looked like royal decrees. These, she announced, beaming, are your itineraries for the Bachelorette week. I opened mine, expecting maybe a weekend in Vegas or a spa trip to Napa. I looked at the first page and literally choked on my drink. I had to cough into my napkin to keep from spraying orange juice on the velvet book. And then I saw the bottom line. The estimated cost per person was $8,000. I froze. I looked around the table. The other bridesmaids were pale. One girl, Sarah, looked like she was about to cry. But nobody said anything. They were terrified of Jessica. She has this way of flipping a switch from best friend to mean girl in a split second. I laughed nervously. I honestly thought it was a prank. Jess, I said, forcing a smile. This is a joke, right? Like, this is the dream board and the real plan is on the next page. She didn't smile. She just stared at me with these dead, cold eyes. No. I want my wedding experience to be perfect. Bora Bora is the only place that fits the vibe. If you love me, you'll make it happen. My stomach dropped. I had just bought my first house 3 months prior. My savings were completely tied up in renovations. I didn't have $800 to spare, let alone $8,000. Jess, I said, keeping my voice gentle. I love you and I want you to have the best time. But I literally cannot drop $8,000 on a vacation right now. My roof is currently covered in a tarp. Can we do something local? Or maybe I can skip the trip but still throw you the most amazing bridal shower here. The room went silent. You could hear a pin drop. Jessica slammed her fork down on the table so hard the silverware rattled. So, she hissed, her voice rising, you're saying my happiness isn't worth an investment to you? It's not about your happiness, I tried to explain. It's about basic math. I don't have the money. If you can't afford to be in my wedding, she cut me off, standing up, maybe you shouldn't be in my life. I need people who support me, not people who bring me down with their poverty mindset. She grabbed her purse and stormed out of the restaurant. And the kicker? She left me with the bill for the brunch. A brunch she hosted. I drove home shaking. I was vibrating with anxiety. Part of me, the part conditioned by years of walking on eggshells around her, wanted to chase her. I thought about putting the trip on a credit card just to stop the conflict. I thought about begging my parents for a loan. But then I walked into my new house. I looked at the walls I was painting myself. I looked at the life I was building. And a quiet voice in my head finally said enough. I didn't call her. I want to pause the story right here for a second. We are about to get into the part where things go from bad friendship to legal nightmare. But before we do, I have a question for you guys. If your best friend asked you for $8,000 for a party and you said no and they cut you off, Would you apologize? Or would you stand your ground? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're down there, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel, and it guarantees you won't miss the next time I spill the tea on a crazy story like this. We are aiming for 100,000 subscribers this year, and I'd love for you to be part of the crew. Alright, back to the drama. So, I went home. I didn't apologize. 2 days of silence passed. I thought maybe, just maybe, she was cooling off. Maybe she realized asking for a year's worth of college tuition for a 1-week trip was insane. Nope. I woke up on Tuesday to a barrage of notifications. My phone was blowing up so hard it was actually hot to the touch. I opened Instagram and my heart stopped. Jessica had posted a video. A 10-minute, tearful monologue. She didn't tag me, but she didn't have to. She was crying full crocodile tears about how her unsupportive, jealous best friend was trying to sabotage her joy. She spun a narrative that I was bitter because I was still single and she was marrying a wealthy man. She claimed I had ruined her engagement celebration by making a scene about money to embarrass her. The comments were brutal. People I had known for years, high school friends, neighbors, even Mark's sister, were commenting things like, "You don't need that toxicity," and "Some people just can't handle seeing others shine." Mark's sister even DM'd me directly. She wrote, "I hope you fix your bitter heart before you die alone." I felt sick. Physically ill. I wanted to scream. I wanted to screenshot my bank account. I wanted to post the velvet booklet with the $8,000 price tag and ask the internet, "Would you pay this?" But I knew Jessica. Engaging with her was like wrestling a pig in mud. You both get dirty, but the pig likes it. If I defended myself, she would just twist my words. So, I did the hardest thing imaginable. I went silent. I blocked her. I blocked the other bridesmaids who were leaving snake emojis on my photos. I blocked Mark's sister. I put my head down and focused on my work. A week passed. I was walking around with this heavy cloud over my head, mourning a 20-year friendship while being treated like a villain. Then, on a Tuesday afternoon, I got a call from an unknown number. Usually, I don't pick up unknown numbers. But something told me to answer. "Hello." I answered, my voice guarded. "Hey, it's Mark." My stomach dropped. I almost hung up immediately. I expected him to be calling to yell at me, to defend his future wife, to tell me I was a terrible person. "Look," he said, and he sounded wrecked. Like he hadn't slept in days. "I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me." "Okay," I said, gripping the phone. "Jessica told me she kicked you out of the bridal party because you hit on me at the engagement dinner. She said you tried to make a move on me in the hallway, and when she confronted you, you freaked out." I nearly dropped the phone. The audacity was breathless. "What?" I shouted. "Mark, that is insane. That is completely made up. She kicked me out because I told her I couldn't afford an $8,000 bachelorette trip to Bora Bora." There was a long silence on the other end. It lasted so long I thought the call had dropped. "Mark, Bora Bora?" he asked. He sounded genuinely confused. "What do you mean, afford it?" "She gave us these velvet booklets," I explained, talking fast now. It broke down the costs. Private villas, first class. She said the estimate was $8,000 per person, and if we didn't pay it, we didn't love her. "That doesn't make any sense," Mark said, his voice dropping to a whisper. "I gave her $20,000 last week." I froze. "You what?" "She came to me crying about how much she wanted to treat her friends," Mark said. "She said she knew it was a big ask for everyone to take time off work, so she wanted to cover the entire bachelorette trip. She asked for $20,000 to book the villas and flights for everyone. I wrote her the check so money wouldn't be an issue for you guys." My jaw hit the floor. She had taken his money, $20,000 intended to pay for us, pocketed it, and then tried to extort another $8,000 from each of us. She was essentially trying to double dip to the tune of $60,000. "Mark," I said, my voice shaking with rage. "She handed us an itinerary demanding we pay. I still have the physical copy. It breaks down the mandatory contribution. I can send you a photo right now." "Please do," he said. His voice had lost all its warmth. It sounded dead. I hung up, grabbed the velvet booklet from my trash bin where I had thrown it, and took a high-res photo of the page breaking down the costs. I circled the mandatory total, $8,000 line. I hit send. I saw the 3 dots appear. Then they disappeared. He didn't reply. The next 48 hours were a total mystery. I heard nothing. No angry texts from Jessica, no updates from mutual friends. The silence was deafening. But then I saw the update. It popped up on my feed on Thursday evening. Mark changed his relationship status on Facebook to single. 5 minutes later, he made a post. No dramatic selfie, no crying video. Just a simple text background. It read, "Integrity is doing the right thing when no one is watching." Unfortunately, some people only care about the image, not the reality. The wedding is off. The internet exploded. Suddenly, the narrative flipped. The people who had been attacking me, calling me toxic and bitter, were suddenly sliding into my DMs. OMG girl, what happened? Is this true? I always knew something was off with her. I didn't respond to any of them. I didn't post a victory lap. I didn't need to. The truth has a funny way of revealing itself without any help. About a month later, I ran into Mark at a coffee shop downtown. It was awkward for a second, but he waved me over. He looked rough, thinner, tired, but he also looked relieved. We sat down, and he told me what happened after I sent the photo. He had gone home and waited for Jessica. When she walked in, he didn't yell. He just put his phone on the table with the photo of the itinerary I sent. He asked her to explain where the $20,000 went if her friends were being billed. He said he expected her to cry, or apologize, or make up an excuse. Instead, she got angry. She screamed at him that he was financially controlling her. She admitted she kept the money. She said she deserved it as a pre-wedding gift for dealing with the stress of planning. She said the bridesmaids should pay because it proves their loyalty. She didn't see anything wrong with stealing 20 grand from her fiancé and scamming her best friends. Mark told me that was the moment the spell broke. I realized I wasn't marrying a partner. I was marrying a parasite. He broke it off right there. He kicked her out of his house that night. He thanked me for being the only one brave enough to say no to her. He said, "If you hadn't stood your ground, I might have married her. You saved me from a lifetime of manipulation." We finished our coffee, and for the first time in weeks, I didn't feel the weight of a ruined friendship. I felt the lightness of dodging a massive bullet. Jessica actually tried to reach out a few months later. Can you believe that? She sent me a long text saying she had done some healing and was willing to let bygones be bygones if I apologized for ruining her relationship. I stared at that message. I laughed out loud in my empty kitchen. And then, I did the most satisfying thing in the world. I deleted the message and I blocked her number for good. I learned a valuable lesson that year, and I want you guys to take this to heart. Real friends don't put a price tag on your loyalty. They don't ask you to go into debt for their vanity. And sometimes, the best wedding gift you can give yourself is cutting the toxic people out of the guest list of your life. That is the story of how I lost a best friend, but saved my sanity and my bank account. I want to know what you guys think. Do you think Mark should have sued her for the $20,000? Or was just getting away from her worth the loss? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this story, please give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you get notified when I drop the next story. Stay safe, protect your peace, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.